Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to share with you my week 1 update for the build that I'm playing right now, which is actually Elemental Hit Slayer. I know I said before in the pre-league launch video I wanted to play Ice Shot, and actually I did play Ice Shot. I don't want to go open my character inside my Private Exile, but this is the one, Tembak Ice. I already leveled it to 95. It's just that I changed my build to Ice Shot halfway down of week 1 because okay, well, Ice Shot, I mean, it plays exactly as I expected, but unfortunately I couldn't what I wanted to do was actually play around with the new stuff that we have in 3.27, and somehow I can't really how to say make any like significant discovery on it. So technically it's just the old Ice Shot. So there was like nothing really exciting that I've done with it. So I decided to move on to my next build, and also because I think that with the breach mechanic, you need a build that can do that can perform decently in clearing and survivability. So Ice Shot is kind of lacking in that unless I pump like very big very large amount of currency into it, which I don't want to do as my first first build of the league, because I wanted to play around with something else. But here it is. Just a quick rundown. I'm playing using Archon's tool so that I can inflict a lot of ailment on the enemy, chill, shock, and scorch. And then with my own Ice Shot, I can inflict freeze to make use of the taming. So we have Heat Shiver and Harry's Ire, so nothing really out of the norm there. We have this one, Light of Meaning. I'm supposed to change it to cold damage, but I'm using evasion because it's a cheap way to get a lot of evasion as a placeholder. Lethal Pride, the main important notes are chance to gain endurance charge on kill and chance to deal double damage for more severity and more damage during mapping. And then for our Ascendancy, we're taking Gathering Winds, Ricochet, Endless Munition, and Occupying Force, while using Forbidden Flame and Flash to take Wind Ward for the 5th Ascendancy point in our own Deadeye tree. And then below is the support skill gem. Again, this is not a fully optimized build. It's just that I just wanted to move on and play something else. Either way, it's still decently strong with using Vile Ice Shot as a skill to burst down the bosses. But yeah, it's not the thing is, I'm not really excited for it because a lot of things I tried to mess around with didn't really fall through. Things like Wind Burst and Wall of Force, they're like okay skill, but not really something like groundbreaking or anything. So I move on to my next build. Anyway, enough yapping. So okay, moving on to Elemental Hit. Okay, this skill got buff this league, which is here. It now has a 120% base attack speed, so that's 20% more attack speed for the skill, and also the base radius is now 1.4 meter, which is actually very good for a strike skill. With it, you don't even require melee splash. Should I start just showcasing the build? Okay, let's just do a quick showcase of the build first. I'll do a quick map. Yeah, I'm doing destructive play at the moment. Right, sorry. I'll just jump real quick to Drox.
The sound of 1,000 calls for blood echo for eternity.
You are the cause of great misery.
The good thing about elemental hit is that if you hit an enemy that is affected by an ailment that your elemental hit skill is using, because it choose either fire, cold, or lightning, the area of effect receives 80% more area radius against enemies affected by an ailment by the chosen enemy. So you can see here, when I hit the enemy, you can see like a shockwave explosion. Unfortunately, it's not really like, there's no like accompanying sound effect or anything, so you just need to you just need to see how it is visually. But as you can see from the area, it's really huge. Together with our passive skill tree,
You reek of imperfection.
together with our passive skill tree, this is basically our clear. Like, I can jump into the middle of a mopex and reliably clear anything.
Fun's over, Brine Rot.
I can't do this just yet.
You can see here, I really don't have anything other than elemental hit itself for my clearing. It's really just the skill itself and the passive skill tree for that increased AOE, and this is the clear basically. What is it? Oh, okay, this was actually the one all this while. Sorry. So when you meet the enemy, you press Enduring Cry to have your endurance charge, and then you press Berserk whenever, because we have good uptime of our reach. And basically that's about it. It's a very simple strike skill, and you can actually start this playing this build like really early in the game. Let me finish up.
It's disappointing. Wars are not won. The tapestry we weave is complex indeed. What will you do with this information?
Okay, let's talk about the build. That took a bit longer than expected because I was quite confused with the layout. Anyway, okay, about the build. So, the build is using elemental hit and Trinity support. Sorry, before that, let me just talk about the character. I'm currently level 96 already. This is my passive skill tree, and the only thing that you really need to play elemental hit is actually non-val strike skills target one additional nearby enemy, and as much melee strike range as possible to make your melee skill feels really good, because otherwise you're going to struggle with aiming towards the enemy. So melee strike range, non-val strike skills, and I would recommend you, if you want to start playing with the build right from the get-go, I would recommend you only switching after you get the non-val strike skill plus a decent amount of melee strike range, and preferably after you get your first ascendancy, which is impact, which gives you number 1 global accuracy rating, which is always nice, and then 0.4 meter to melee strike range, and then increase area of effect per enemy kill recently up to 50%. This skill alone like gives you like more than half of the clear that the build has. So after you get that, then it's basically smooth sailing. You can play the same way I have shown you in the gameplay just now. Just jump and hit the enemy. And then something very important, because elemental hit depends on the enemies having an elemental ailment on them to do good amount of AOE and damage. The skill summon skitterbot is very important. So if you want to transition to elemental hit, these 4 stuff are the things that I recommend you have. +1 to strike target, melee strike range, preferably first ascendancy but not really required, but summon Skitterbot is mandatory. Because of this, you're always inflicting chill and shock on enemy. So your elemental hit, 2 out of 3 elements will have good damage and good AOE from the first hit. Of course, after you get your a few hits where you've already inflicted all the element, then you get the full amount. And also, you can always take elemental equilibrium straight away, because elemental hit switches the element for each hit. And then something that the build is also using is actually Secrets of Suffering, where we cannot inflict ignite, chill, freeze or shock, but we are inflicting chill and shock from our Skitterbot. And then critical strikes inflict Scorch, Brittle and Sap, which is another set of elemental element. So we're basically inflicting 5 elements on the enemy, which really counts for which counts really well for elemental hit, because it has the line more damage for each type of elemental element, and we have 5 elemental element inflicted on them if you're using Secrets of Suffering. And then what else? Anything else I need to highlight? I mean, that's pretty much it. Melee strike range and AOE and ailment. But for Secrets of Suffering, of course, you need to have your build spec into critical strike, because otherwise you cannot inflict those ailment. Okay, let's talk about leveling. I have saved this somewhere here. Okay, this is the leveling gear that I have for the build, and actually only using this, except Wanderlust, I changed it to a rare shoes somewhere down the campaign. But this is the equipment that I'm using for leveling the build up until red maps even. Just all this starter gear. Okay, I'll go through them real quick. Gurim, Wanderlust, very standard. But we're using Foxshade and Ondas Claps, which have modifiers that gains huge bonuses when on full life. And I pair this with Kikazaru, because it gives a decent amount of life regeneration per second per level, which scales well with your level. And this is basically better than Vitality in my opinion. This is basically my favorite leveling unit, by the way. And it gives you, here Foxshade gives you 30% movement speed, which is extremely good for if you want to blaze through the campaign. And then Ondas Clap gives 30% increased attack speed and movement speed also. Sorry, not movement speed, just attack speed when on full life. So this 3 item alone gives you 80% increased movement speed, 20, 30 and sorry, not this one, not doesn't give you movement speed on full life, sorry. 20 and 30, so 50. That's like 7 league steps already. And we use Kikazaru to ensure it's always on. Lycoside to not worry about accuracy during leveling. Golrim for elemental resistances. Prism Wave for just elemental damage to attacks. Le Hoop Oval just gives very general stats. The most important one are probably attributes, so that we don't have to bother with our stats during leveling. And then Fidelitas Spike, the only thing we want out of this sword is actually the high number of attacks per second, 2.08, because elemental hits doesn't really use the base damage of the sword that much. So basically I use the and Carnage Heart for more attributes and more elemental resistances. I basically only use this until I reach red maps, and it functions really well even with just that. So I think elemental hit is in a really good spot right now. And yeah, I'll share with you the POB of my current character later. It's still not finished yet, but I have to say this build has already been doing pinnacle bosses, tier 17, tier 16.5 memory maps with little to no difficulty, except maybe breaches, because you need to jump around a little bit to make sure your NPC don't die. Okay, now let's talk about where we are with the build in terms of gear, and maybe what else I want to improve on. I don't think there's much things to improve on, but basically we use elemental hit, and we scale the level of the elemental hit using replica Dragon Fang and Admiral's Arrogance for +3 level of all melee skills, and here +3 level of all elemental hit gems. So we're now sitting at level 27, and we're using the taming for that all the increased damage per element on enemy. I should take my taming from my Ice Shot character because that one goes better. I'm not sure why I still haven't taken it yet. Probably just forgot. My weapon is like a 15C weapon because the only stats we're interested in this is increase attack speed, crit chance, crit multi, increase elemental damage with attacks, and attack with this weapon penetrate 30% elemental resistance, a crafted modifier. This is something preferably on a very high attack speed base. This is not something most build want, so I think I bought this like for 15 chaos or something. My next upgrade for this weapon is actually Paradoxica. And my shield, I'm using Replica Miss Wall. I'm taking this for that maximum chance to block spell damage if you have not blocked recently. So it allows me to tank some of the big bosses hit once in a while if I do get hit, which I think is really nice if you don't have much investment in shield. The thing that maybe if I want to improve on is actually take maybe Versatile Combatant, and then take Gladiator's chance to block is lucky from Flame and Flesh, and from what's it called? The two pair jewels, Flash of Flames, Melding of the Flesh, Melding of the Flame. I can't remember what's the name. And then okay, Glove is here, and Admiral's Arrogance. We have high chance that if you would gain reach on hit, you gain up to maximum reach, and we pair that with Berserk, and it allows us to have very consistent uptime of our Berserk during bossing. And then helmet, nothing much, but basically I'm abusing the Genesis tree to give the build a lot of life regen and increased life regeneration rate from boots and helmet, and the rest are just resistances and armor. And the build doesn't have much chaos resistance, but from the bat I'm using a crafted chaos resistance against damage over time craft, which gives me a lot of a needed chaos resistance, which coincidentally also happens in a damage over time format instead of damage per hits. So sitting at basically cap resistances, over cap fire even, and chaos resistance is almost 60 with a high amount of life regen. If I'm using one of the flasks that I have here, regenerate 3% life per second during effect, and also Bottle Faith. We're sitting at like 1k life regen, and not counting our leech from our Slayer Ascendancy. So sustain is also very good. And then our armor, we have like around 27k, and then we have 7 maximum endurance charges, which is also very very helpful in mitigating all that damage. So 7 endurance charges, 7 frenzy charges, and then full spell suppression chance. We have 50% chance to reduce 50% reduce effect of shield, freeze immune, and then we also have shock immune from Temper Shield. Okay, for the aura, we're using the most mandatory one is Summon Skitterbots, and then Flesh and Stone. Flesh and Stone is really good for this build because it has a lot of AoE, and in Sense Stance it says here buff makes you take up to 19% less damage from enemies in aura. So because your aura AoE here is extremely big for a strike skill anyway, because you generally will always be within the enemy will always be within the aura if you want to hit the enemy. So Flesh and Stone in Sense Stance is very very good. And then Precision, power accuracy rating, you don't really require it if you're using Lycoside for leveling, But if you want to switch, you need to take precision for that accuracy. And then finally, Tempest Shield for chance to block spell damage and also immunity to shock. You can even play around with that if you want to take something like a take armor, for example. It's really up to you. But the mandatory one, summon skitter bots, flesh and stone, and I would say precision. Okay, what else? I already talked about elemental equilibrium and secrets of suffering. Charge generation is frenzy. We take hit from here. Sword mastery, chance to gain frenzy charge when you hit a unique enemy during bossing. And then during mapping, we have Disciple of Slaughter and Disciple of Unyielding for frenzy and endurance charge during mapping. During bossing, we use Enduring Cry to get that endurance charge per power generation. And take this mastery here, increase charge duration. 100% increased charge duration returns your charges to have like 20-second duration, which allows for really easy sustain. And then during bossing, we have Static Strike linked to... Sorry, let me show you. Static Strike linked to power charge on crit to gain our power charges. And then the rest, Slip Slam, faster attack, Blood Rage, Mark on hit, Assassin's Mark, Flesh and Stone, Enduring Cry, Precision, Temper Shield, cast 1 damage taken, Molten Shell, Purifying Flame. This is basically my standard setup. Berserk. And then our main skill, Elemental Hit, Trinity, Awaken Elemental Damage, Inspiration, Hypothermia, and increased critical damage. Sorry. As you can see, I actually have 2 more empty slots in the build. I just don't really have any idea what to put at the moment. I'm taking my Summon Holy Relic for more life regen, link with minion life or something, but I'm not really sure. The build doesn't like it's not really lacking in anything that can be solved in just 2 slots anyway. Maybe I'll take, I don't know, Animate Guardian, maybe Race Spectre, I don't know yet. But basically that's about it for the setup of the build. I wanted to talk about something. Oh yeah, sorry, for the main skill, make sure you don't use multi-strike, because you want each of your hit to basically change the element. And if you use multi-strike, very important, I need to say this, because in PoB, multi-strike gives like more damage, but in practice, not really, because of the reason of this strike behavior here. If I use multi-strike, you can see here, every repeat deals the same type of elemental damage. That was fire, lightning, sorry, cold, lightning. So you don't want that. You want an alternating hits that is not repeated like that, to get maximum uptime of your damage and also full effect of your elemental equilibrium for that exposure. Sorry. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll do a build guide, maybe update sometime later, as I usually do. But basically you can take the POB of my character already and then just play the build effectively already, because like I told you, the build doesn't really require much to function. Alright, that's it. Thank you very much. Bye.